Let's go through the main roster of WWE and decide who we think is going to be the next champion, who's going to dethrone the current champions across everybody. First up, let's just talk about Cody Rhodes. All right, there's a lot of people online. People love Cody. I'm a fan of Cody. Some people feel that Cody needs to be chasing and not have that belt anymore. I don't know when these people will get dethroned by any means. What the hell do I know? Just a big old dummy in a chair. By the way, first time here, my name is Matt. Welcome to Assemble. Yeah, I do resemble LA Knight. I bring it up because I get it in the comments every day. I get it. No muscle looking coffee shop running LA Knight brother. That's what I am. Anyways, Cody Rhodes, who's gonna dethrone Mr. Rhodes? I got two guesses here. I'm gonna say The Rock, the final boss, is gonna take the title off of Mr. Rhodes, or Randy Orton. I personally want to see Randy Orton go turn heel. He loses to Gunther. He gets really angry and pissed off, and he decides he's had enough. He goes back to SmackDown, and he just starts RKOing Cody Rhodes out of nowhere, maybe after like War Games, and decides that's the time when he's like, I've had enough. I want a championship. I want the championship. And he goes over and he's like, I want that 15-time world reign. And he becomes the biggest nasty veteran heel ever. And you get Cody going off, and he can go fight The Rock at WrestleMania or do a three-way. I don't know. He'll chase the belt or something. But I like to see that. The final boss I can totally see, like the Royal Rumble or at WrestleMania, and Cody loses the belt at Mania. I don't know what Roman's doing, by the way, in all of this. The original tribal chief, he's got his own thing going on. So I don't know how it's going to happen, but I think those are the two biggest possibilities of taking the belt off Cody. Gunther, your new world heavyweight champion. This one is hard. I got to be honest. I don't know who can take it off Gunther. You got to have somebody that's kind of climbing up. They're going to have to build somebody, in my opinion, as a babyface to take that belt off of Gunther. Do I think it's Orton? No, I'd be shocked if it was. But I don't think that Gunther is going to go on this year-long title reign. I don't think they want to do that. I don't think the fans want to see it. I want to see the world title hot potatoed a little bit, get it moving around and shuffling the deck here and there. So if I look at the roster just for Monday Night Raw, and there could be drafts and trades and who the hell knows what's going to go on here. Right now, the only person I see taking the title off of Gunther is Drew McIntyre. I don't think it's going to be Punk. I think that's way, like, the odds are stacked against Punk to be able to get that belt off Gunther. We saw on Raw that Drew McIntyre inserted himself into the conversation of the world title, which I really loved because that's blending multiple stories together. You got Orton and Gunther doing their thing, and Drew comes out, and then Punk comes out, and you got all these people dealing in there. And then you got Damian Priest, who's like, he's got to want his world title shot again. Like, he's going to want a rematch eventually. But I do think that for somebody to take it off Gunther, it has to be somebody who's like at equal level. Now, we have seen Drew and Gunther going at it before. We have done that feud. But I think if you have the interesting mix of Punk, Gunther, Drew, even possibly Seth when he returns, you have a lot of pieces in there where you could do like a fatal four-way where like Gunther doesn't have to get pinned to lose the belt. Keep Gunther a little strong. I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre. If Drew gets the belt before Mania, then you can end up with CM Punk winning the belt at WrestleMania. So there you go. The women's world champion, Liv Morgan. For this, again, just in case there's going to be drafts coming up in the next 6 or 8 months, probably not, probably till after WrestleMania, but it's Rhea Ripley. Rhea is going to take that title off of Liv. The question is when. My way early prediction is nonsense, is going to be that it's going to be WrestleMania. We're going to have to wait all the way till then. Liv would need to go through some other opponents in the meantime. She's got to get some different challengers other than, I know she's in the thick of this whole Judgment Day story. I get it, but they're going to need to do something where they got to get Liv strong, and you can't just keep doing matches against Rhea. Maybe they'll get the belt on Rhea by like the Rumble, maybe, but you could probably want to stretch this thing out as long as possible. That's what she said. And you could do it where Rhea wins the Rumble, gets the Mania, and takes the belt off Liv. Otherwise, I don't see anybody else. Who the hell is on Raw? In the women's, I'm looking at my phone of like, who's on the roster? Like, you tell me your pick. Like, who's on the women's roster that could take the belt off of Liv Morgan? Becky Lynch, if she came back. Asuka, she comes back from injury, maybe. But it doesn't fit in the story, right? Dakota Kai is injured. Io Sky is in damage control, and she's doing that trios thing. Natalia, no. Like, They've built it, and this is what WWE has been doing lately. You got Zelina Vega. I love to see her as champion, but that ain't happening. But they got like a lot of like factions. Triple H loves his factions right now, but it's like no one else gets built. It's just like, okay, here's the story, Rhea and Liv, and then like that's it. So it's gonna be Rhea Ripley. WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax. Now, at least on SmackDown, things are a little bit more interesting because you do have Tiffany Stratton, who's got the Women's Money in the Bank. So she could cash in, and it could be Tiffany as the next person. I think they want Nia to go on a bit of a hot streak. Just won the belt. She dominated a Queen of the Ring. She's got the belt now. She beat Bayley. Possible contenders for Nia Jax. You could have Bayley, obviously. You could eventually split up Bianca and Jade and have them go after the singles title, but they're probably sticking with the tag. Tiffany Stratton, like we mentioned. Naomi is always somebody that you can roll up into the main title scene. Chelsea Green, Blair Davenport, they're also potential people that would want to fight Nia Jax, but I think it's a good problem they have on SmackDown where the women's scene is very crowded in terms of more credible contenders to go after the title, if that makes sense. Because again, you could split up Bianca and Jade tomorrow, and then they could go after the title, but they're gonna do their thing. Honestly, who is gonna take it off Nia? They could flip it back to Bayley and do that. I could also see a returning Charlotte Flair. And you know what? I'm gonna put my money on that. I'm gonna say, because I could do Bayley, it could be Naomi, but they don't seem to pull the trigger on her. Like, they need a mid-card title. So you can give it to like Naomi or Michin Mia Yim. Tiffany is the like obvious one, right? Because they're building the story of Nia and Tiffany being friends, and then is she gonna turn on her? I am gonna say though that they're gonna wait on Tiffany. I think that they could wait until WrestleMania and give Tiffany Stratton that giant moment like a Damian Priest. You get the cash in, or they could do it right before that and they could do it at like the Royal Rumble or something like that. So I am gonna say that Charlotte Flair is gonna beat Nia Jax. They got a lot of history. She comes back. Charlotte would get a big pop as a babyface. She could dominate Nia Jax. Then she's inserted herself at the top. Then you could have Tiffany versus Charlotte, say it like WrestleMania, and you can have Tiffany announce the cash in on Charlotte. Or it could be like Bayley versus Charlotte, and then Tiffany cashes in. Something wild like that. I'm going with Charlotte. I'm going with a weird pick. Your Intercontinental Champion, Braun Breaker Steiner. All right. Who is going to take the belt off of Steiner brother? So they've been doing stuff where you got like Bronson Reed heating it up. He took out Seth. He's doing the tsunami on lots of people. Bronson Reed could be a contender unless they're gonna skip him all the way up to like the world title scene and do that. You got a big nasty heel over there. Chad Gable, yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do, Chad. I mean, eventually I think you need to draft and get Chad off. He's doing Wyatt stuff, so that ain't happening. Jey Uso, I think he's doing bloodline stuff, so I don't think Jay's gonna be in there. Sammy is obviously not gonna be in there. Honestly, the only person that I could see taking it off of Braun is Ilya. I know they've had their history, they've had their matches, they had their feud in NXT, but I think Ilya could make the most sense if they now do a better job of like really focusing on him, this feud with Braun. And you could, by like Survivor Series, have Ilya take the belt off Breaker. Breaker, I think they see as like, this guy is climbing faster and faster and faster as champion. He could get up to the world title scene and be in the mix, and it would be believable. So I think Braun will have the title for a while, but the only person right now, like if it's gonna be a babyface, Ilya is probably your best shot to taking off Braun, if that. Your United States champion, LA Knight. Yeah, all right, Mr. Knight. Who is going to take the belt off LA Knight? Nobody. You hear that? Nah. No, somebody's gonna beat him. Possible contenders. AJ Styles, who I think could come back. You could mix AJ up in the world title scene again, or like the WWE title against Cody, but they've done that. If you bring AJ back once again as a heel, I know we did this before with LA Knight. We did that match, but I really like the feud, and I think they could do even more out of it now that a title is involved, and you could do AJ versus LA Knight once again. That would be a lot of fun. I like the home invasion stuff they did before WrestleMania. So AJ is on my list to take the belt off of LA Knight. Carmelo Hayes, I would have put him on there, but where is he? What have they done? There's a lot of what have you done for me lately? This is the problem with SmackDown in general. Like we're gonna have a whole conversation about Raw and SmackDown because it's not working right now. Carmelo Hayes, they were doing something, but then it stopped. So I don't think they have plans for Carmelo right now. Giovanni Vinci's coming back. He could be a contender. No, yeah, Vinci's losing. You have LA Knight go through like months of taking out contenders. He takes out Carmelo Hayes. He beats up Santos Escobar again. And he goes through all of these guys. I think you could then get Jacob Fatu to win the United States Championship. Depending on what they're going to do with this whole bloodline storyline, where that whole thing is going to go, you got the tag titles over there. And yes, Jacob Fatu is injured. So you got Tonga Loa holding up the tag titles. You got Tonga Loa like holding it up all weird. Jacob Fatu coming in, decimating LA Knight, who's a strong babyface, taking that United States Championship to the bloodline. I think it adds a lot of intrigue. I think it also gets LA Knight back into the bloodline story a little bit, and you can have, like, again, multiple stories happening like you would on Raw. So for me, if it's not Jacob Fatu, I would go AJ Styles, and you have them going one-on-one. I'm not doing the speed championships, by the way, men's or women's. Like, Andrade is speed champion. Cedric Alexander, there you go. I don't know. All right, Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Judgment Day, world champions, world tag team champions on Raw. So I'm scrolling through the Raw roster and I'm like, man, the tag division is slim. Like, you could do Final Testament. You could do Authors of Pain. That would kind of be almost my dark horse there. Like, Judgment Day is all screwed up with, you know, Damian Priest and get distracted and then boom, they win it. The Creed brothers, you could do that, but they're heels as well. I think you get Jay and Sammy are going to be the new tag team champions. Now, maybe this all falls apart because maybe they get drafted over to SmackDown to do Bloodline stuff, but they could do some cross-promotional stuff. I don't know. I think that they could do that. I think that if you were going to get anybody to take these tag titles off Judgment Day, Sammy and Jay could do it if they want to go down that path. Gives them both something to do, and again, it might lead to something with the Bloodline. Now, the WWE Tag Team Champions, the Bloodline, which is going to be Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu right now, but Fatu is injured kind of, so I don't know. They're gonna hold on to those tag titles for a while. The Street Profits, I don't see them taking those belts off of Bloodline. They're gonna want Bloodline to be strong for a while. Could it be Jimmy and Jay? You get the draft, you get a trade, you do something like that. Maybe it would be a trade, and you have Jay go over to SmackDown and reform the Usos. They could take down the Bloodline. I mean, otherwise, it's slim pickings. It's slim pickings on SmackDown. Don't know why my voice said that. DIY? No, they're transitional. So it's like DIY, Street Profits. That's like it. The OC, maybe. Pretty Deadly. They're not gonna beat the Bloodline. Okay, so I said this for Raw. If the story doesn't line up there on Raw, then I'm gonna say on SmackDown, you're gonna get Jimmy and Jay as the next tag team champions, defeating the Bloodline for the tag titles. Where is Sami Zayn in all of this? Again, if things don't continue on Raw for them and Pierce does do this trade, they could end up having, like, say Kevin Owens and Randy Orton get traded over to Raw, and on SmackDown they trade Sami Zayn and Jey Uso over there, and then you have full Bloodline going over onto SmackDown, including Sami Zayn, and that way you can reform original Bloodline. It actually works for the story. I'm gonna say Jimmy and Jay, Usos reunite, and they become tag team champions. When though? That may be WrestleMania. The Unholy Union are your WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. So the women's tag team titles, cross-brand. Lot of focus for them though on SmackDown. Jade and Bianca still trying to go after those titles. Damage Control, possibly. I'm gonna say that they lose the tag titles, probably in a multi-woman match again, but the Pure Fusion Collective, right? The new one, Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, Sonya Deville. I think they get the tag titles. I think they're gonna wanna put more heat on them. And I know that Unholy Union is their heels, or are they baby? See, like, they're kind of tweeners right now. Like, I put them more baby faces, but I don't see them as being tag team champions very long. Ultimately, Jade and Bianca are gonna get those belts. They're bigger stars. Probably right around WrestleMania, they could win the tag team titles, and there you go. But Pure Fusion Collective, you just formed this faction officially. You gave them a really dumb name. I'm going with them. PFC. Yeah, you know me. They're going to win the tag team titles. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to be the next champions? And guys, if you can, help me out and hit subscribe on the channel and like this video because we're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. We're nearly there. Thank you for watching. And for more WWE content, click this video right here talking about Roman Reigns and his whole return and what the rest of the year could look like for Mr. Roman Reigns. Have a great day. See ya.